Hi, everyone. How are you this evening? So good to see you here. I see we have people. Wow, you were waiting for me, and I can see you and chat with you while you're waiting. This is extraordinary. I am learning YouTube, my friends. How are you this evening? Hello, Charles. Hello, Arlene. I see that I have a few other people here, although I don't see who you are yet. So please let me know who you are. Arlene, how did you figure out getting into the chat? Yeah, now I am. Now I'm live. Great to see everybody here. So I'm sorry it's been so long. As you know, I've been dealing with this shoulder issue, and I had an MRI. I've got a few torn tendons. Let me transfer. Let's transfer this over. I was in the wrong place. I have a few torn tendons. I have some inflammation and some weakening in the cartilage. So I realize now why I've been in the pain I've been in. Yeah. So I think I'm also connected. Connected to YouTube. I'm connected to YouTube. I'm connected to Facebook, but I'm also connected to LinkedIn. Excuse me one second. Hope I'm not getting sick. So I thought for today, as my arm has been in pain, and yeah, so good, so good, so good that you got it, Arlene. My arm's been in pain. I haven't really been out. I haven't wanted to go out. And I just think about, what do I miss? The sky. Though I get a beautiful view of the sky if you look right behind me. This is Jong Hung Tu's incredible piece. And it's a rainy day in that sky, but I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Charles, I like your bio a lot. Yeah. Looks really good. And one of the things I realized that we're all missing is nature. And who better was nature than Constable? John Constable. I mean, nobody can do a cloud like Constable, or a sky. There's so many times I look up and I'll look at the sky and think that's a Constable sky. It's just looking up at the natural sky, you see his work. It's really amazing how he was able to capture it and then kind of become it. So I didn't put in all of the names because, again, the shoulder, I only have so much use of my shoulder and my arm on the right side with the mouse. In fact, I've changed my desk around, if you see, again, to give myself some more room. I'm doing so much online now, like we all are, that it's tricky. I have to rethink everything. I used to be running around all over you guys, up 175 flights a day, several times a day, with the cathedral, then up and down at the Historical Society, and then all over the city in artist studios, right? Just all over. Then with collectors and artwork and hanging. And it's been a very sedentary several months. It's almost impossible to stay that active without being that active. And so I find myself with physical issues. But yeah, so Constable Sky, just extraordinary. He has a way of capturing the sky, and you feel the size of it, the depth of it, the enormity of it. You know, it becomes this blanket of the earth. And then his treatment to clouds. We saw a wonderful show in Yale one summer, William, Jean, and I, and it had a lot of constables. And yeah, I agree, Arlene, no name needed, right? Hey, Clyde, how are you? And we loved it. There had been so many of the small cloud drawings, just so tiny, just beautiful little pieces. And it was hot. It was August. We went for my birthday. Oh, I know what show was there. Orazio Gentileschi was there. Artemisia Gentileschi's father. It was a phenomenal show at Yale. But they also have an amazing collection of constables. It was really, really gorgeous. And even the smallest of cloud studies, you felt like you were looking at enormous paintings. Yeah, that's what I'm missing right now, I think, about being outside more, about connecting to nature more, getting outside of the city, is this connection to the sky. In the city, we don't feel the connection to the sky as intrinsically, and especially in front of my building right now, we have a lot of scaffolding, and that makes things quite difficult. It has been a very challenging time for New Yorkers. Clyde, receiving my motivation for another week of art. Oh, you're so welcome, Clyde, because I recently saw some pieces of yours, Clyde. The shoes, right? Did I see the shoe drawings? Fantastic. Really fantastic. Yeah, the field under the sky is beautiful too, Charles. I agree with you. He has a way of capturing the land and the sky together, whether it's the land, whether it's the landscape, whether it's a place, whether it's sky. He just has this extraordinary sense. Here's one that I really found so unique for him. And let me read you a little bit about him. He was born in 1776 and he died in 1837. He was born in East Bergholt, a village on the River Stour in Suffolk. His father was a wealthy corn merchant and owner of Flatford Mill and later Denham Mill. Golding Constable also owned, that was his father, his own small ship, the Telegraph, which he moored at Mistle and Stour Estuary and used to transport corn to London. Although Constable was his parents' second son, his older brother was mentally handicapped, and so John was expected to succeed his father in business. And after a brief period at a boarding school, he was enrolled in a day school. Constable worked in the corn business after leaving school, but his younger brother, Abram, eventually took over the running of the mills. In his youth, Constable embarked on amateur sketching trips in the surrounding Suffolk countryside that was to become the subject of a large proportion of his art. These scenes, in his own words, made me a painter, and I am grateful. The sound of water escaping from mill dams, willows, old rotten planks, slimy posts, and brickwork. I love such things. He was introduced to George Beaumont, a collector, who showed him his prized Hagar and the Angel by Claude Lorraine, which inspired Constable. Later, while visiting relatives in Middlesex, he was introduced to the professional artist John Thomas Smith, who advised him on painting, but also urged him to remain in his father's business rather than take up art professionally. I'm sure most people feel that way, right? Yeah. Yeah, he's a romantic. That's absolutely true. I knew you'd love that one, Arlene, because it reminded me of some of your work. Yeah. In 1799, Constable persuaded his father to let him pursue art, and Golding even granted him a small allowance. Entering the Royal Academy schools he attended life classes and anatomical dissections, as well as studying and copying old masters. Among works that particularly inspired him during this period were paintings by Gainsborough, which you can clearly see, right? Lorraine, Peter Paul Rubens, and Carracci. He also read widely among poetry and sermons, and later proved a notably articulate artist. By 1803, he was exhibiting paintings at the Royal Academy. In 1802, he refused a position of drawing master at the Great Marlow Military College, a move which Benjamin West, we should look at Benjamin West, counseled him would mean the end of his career. In that year, Constable wrote a letter to John Dunthorne in which he spelled out his determination to become a professional landscape printer. And he said, painter, not printer. Of course not printer, right? For the last 2 years, I've been running after pictures and seeking the truth at second hand. I have not endeavored to represent nature with the sense of elevation of mind with which I set out, but have rather tried to make my performance look like the work of other men. There is room enough for a natural painter. The great vice of the present day is bravura, an attempt to do something beyond the truth. Interesting. His early style has many of the qualities associated with his mature work, including a freshness of light, color, and touch, and reveals the compositional influence of the old masters he has studied, notably Claude Lorrain. Constable's usual subjects, scenes of ordinary daily life, were unfashionable in an age that looked more for romantic visions of wild landscape and ruins. So interesting, Charles, you just said it looks so romantic, but for at this time, he's looking at daily life, right? Yeah, he did, however, make occasional trips further afield. For example, in 1803, he spent almost a month abroad in Indiaman ship as it visited southeast coastal ports. His nature was peculiarly social and could not feel satisfied with scenery. However, grand in itself, he did not abound in human associations. He required villages, churches, farmhouse, and cottages. So interesting. You have to forgive my reading. I've been taking a lot of painkillers. Yeah, sorry. In order to make ends meet, Constable took up portraiture, which he found dull, although he executed it well. He also painted occasional religious pictures. Constable's incapacity as a religious painter cannot be overstated, John Walker said. Of course, his religion is in nature, right? That's his religion, his nature. I'm sure he doesn't want to go out and just paint, a crucifix or something. For him, nature is religion. And he said, his quote, "I should paint my own best places." I love that. Love that. I love this piece. Yeah. Yeah, great work. Great work. I love it because, I never tire of Constable. Never. Every time I see this picture, I feel like I'm looking up to the sky, and I hope I don't sound trite or like I'm your average museum goer who just says trite things. I'm sorry. And godlike, right, Arlene? Look at this piece. Look at the soaring birds right up there in the clouds. Just stunning. Just stunning. I never tire of Constable, so much so that I cannot see the natural sky without thinking of Constable. And I can't see Constable skies without thinking of so many skies I've seen. I remember places based on when we were out in the desert Southwest, going through Arizona and such, and driving through Navajo Nation, and I'm looking out the window and I say, there's a Constable sky. There's a Constable sky. There's a Constable everywhere, all over, this entire earth. There's a Constable sky. He really had this. He was so connected to it, and so beautifully so. And since I can't get outside to see it, I rely on him more than ever. I mean, I can get outside, but it's not the same right now. Look at this beauty. This is beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, it is, Charles. It's incredible that art can make us feel this way. It is extraordinary to be able to feel this way. You're right. You're absolutely right. And yeah, maybe, wouldn't it be so nice if I could make a trip to Yale this summer if the museum were open? But who knows how anything is going to be. It's such a hard time. Such a very, very hard time. Yeah. But there's nothing we can do about it. So, I want to go back to this one. Yeah, so good. Hi, David. How are you? It's so good to see you here, David. I love and live in the sky. I feel the same way. It's so great to see you here. Yeah, thank you for joining. So nice. I'll be able to do longer SMART starts now. My work days are less hectic, which is really good. And when I have a less hectic work day, my arm is not as in pain when I start to put in all of the images into my switching system. Yeah. Yeah, this piece is excellent. It's just gorgeous. So my friends, it's so good to see you here. We are living in very stressful days, very, very stressful days. I know in New York we're doing very well in terms of the virus, and not, as the governor says, not only flattening the curve, we downed the curve, but people aren't taking that so seriously, so they're out and about. And my greatest hope is that he doesn't slow down our phases. We're in phase 1, that we can get to phase 2 and phase 3 and start to get to this city opened in earnest. We really do need it here desperately. And I hope that the rest of the country does their due diligence and keeps that curve down, because it's the only way we're all going to be able to get ourselves back to a normal life, So, Clyde, I just got work that some of my work will be on display in South Texas Art Museum. That's phenomenal, Clyde. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. Well deserved. Well deserved. I'm so happy for you. Yeah, so great. I'll have to do a concurrent smart start with that. That'll be wonderful. Congratulations. So everybody, I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me on Smart Start. Happy to be on YouTube. Feel like this is a really nice place for us, and we'll continue to build the audience. Thinking about Benjamin West for tomorrow night, since we wrote a little bit about him. Maybe take a look at some English painters this week, since we started with Constable. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.